here's Transcendence. And remember, I've been doing these classes, and maybe you do, I never told you, so I don't think asking you to remember is inappropriate. My pardons. So the work that I've done over the past, a lot of years, but this curriculum and the work and the way these classes have evolved, without recognition, there is no transcendence. And that's why I put them specifically in that order. The first thing you have to see, and as ludicrous as it may sound to you yet, you literally, and I do mean literally, are the only one in your universe, and you're the only one who's creating it. Now, there are terms of human that would defy that logic completely with a separated mind, and there would be plenty of arguments to ensue those ideas, right? So just trust them. Just trust this, okay? Thank you, Lisa. Just trust this. All right, trust this process, because I'm in a place right now where life is exquisite. Life is effortless. Life has no fears. It has no hopes. I don't need. It just is there. It is the strangest way to feel daily, and it takes a lot getting used to stop wanting and loving your pain. We claim we don't love our pain, but we choose it every frickin' day. We choose a lesser part of ourselves. We choose a conditioned part through fear, through obligation, through religion, through whatever people says that you're supposed to, behavioral aspects of society. It's insane what we do to ourselves. So the only way to not behave that way is transcend. The first step we've gone through, the step of recognition, enormous humility is going to take place in this transcendence, because you are going to get better and better and better to realize what you have been choosing that literally creates your experience, and you have to be humble to that truth because it's going to bother you. A lot of the things I was doing was everyone else's fault, and it wasn't. It was my truth, my choosing, and I created those worlds. And it's very strange because we think, well, if we create our world, we should be able magically to put all these things in place where we don't want this and we want this, and poof. And it's not that. It's not that fantasy idea. But it does work, and it creates just a wonderful world, a wonderful fucking world that you are allowed to have in the chaos that we call humanity. And so let's get busy with transcendence. So what transcendence is when you recognize a belief system, when you recognize a rift inside of you, you have a fear, or you have a reaction to something that would that solicits immediately with no thought on your part, immediate reaction to a situation in an emotional context. Angry, disappointed, saddened, and you have to see that that belief system is a truth within your kingdom. You bought it from humanity, not your fault. You got to get over that. Get over what you're going to find out about yourself, okay? So when you see it, transcendence is what you do in order to not react like that anymore ever in your life. However, it doesn't happen the first time you transcend it. It's going to be a chipping away process because these belief systems are big and thick and very, very well embedded in your nature, your identity, your separated self. So it's going to take a few times to work through it. Your relationship with money, your relationship with your job, your relationship with yourself, your relationship with your spouse, your kids, your grandkids, your parents, it doesn't matter. They're very, very strong. They're very valuable. You can give two shits about this person that has cancer. You find out someone you love has cancer, all of a sudden cancer is a fucking issue and you have a thing. But this person, you hear that, oh my God, they got stage 4. That's real sad. I'll send you my prayers or whatever you do. You don't give two fucks about them because you have no value in them. You have no investment. You have no ties to them. But that person could have been your parents just as easily as this person was your parent if they have that, something like that. So it's always the self that creates the relationship, not the identity that you've assigned it. It's not them, it's you. Okay? But of course we do that with the people we love. Of course we do. That's why we know. All we know is our human journey and what we coveted over the years and grabbed those truths and they became valuable. But they're easily dismissed when you assign them to something else. So that's what you have to be able to see, that belief system is merely a belief system that is true, so it creates your experience, it creates your behaviors, it creates what you feel. Having the ability to change that is transcendence. It's dying to this self that you discover through observation, which we're going to talk about, and different choices makes you makes you leave this world, no longer energy. Abraham 101, she said it 1,000 times, probably 1,000,000 times by now. Energy follows awareness. If you keep looking at that, willing it into place, it will not die. I don't give a fuck what it is. It's the relationship doesn't die. The whatever you're identifying, the externalism object is irrelevant. You'll assign it to this, to this, to this, to this, to this. How about the girls out there? How about my girls out there? Why do I keep attracting these shitty men? Over and over again, I keep getting men that are shitty to me. They abuse me. They do this. Well, because you haven't changed. And you're letting that person make a same relationship. So you change the man, but the relationship's the same. It ain't the fucking man. It's what you attract. Anything, everything is a relationship. Only way to change it is you have to transcend it. You have to do this masterful work. This is the most important part. Recognition is the most important part now. This is the most important part. You have to embed recognition. You have to observe yourself. Our observation allows us the possibility to transcend. You got to get off your high horse. You're going to find your pride. You're going to have to eat a whole bunch of humble pie. You're going to have to swallow your pride over and over again. You're going to have to release your control over reality, what you think others should be, and if, in the idea of they should behave like this. We've tried that. It's called Stalin. It's called Lenin. It's called Hitler. It's called Napoleon. We've had motherfuckers in control of our world. You want to do that to other people? So it's not Napoleon. It's not Lenin. It's the lack you have inside, and they just happen to have the right amount of violence that allow them to experience that. That's it. They're nowhere special. They used everything here. So everyone's got to learn to release control of their reality by recognizing it, and you must do that because it allows the most important thing to come in. Change. Law 5. It's always there, but humanity doesn't see it. They reject their change because it means loss of identity. It's scary. Okay? So let's look at the first part of transcendence. Okay? We're going to have to trust the self that is now. Trust the attraction. Why are you sitting in front of this to me right now? This is your world that you created. I'm a version of reality that allows you to experience change. You wanted change, you came here. You were tired of whatever avenues you were looking at. You've attracted this moment via Gaia. Someone told you about me, this or that. Whatever it is, you're here. Embrace it. You're here because you're ready to be a light bearer. A light bearer is not a preacher, a teacher, a leader. A light bearer is a way shower. Not when leading them to show them the way. Our light shows people what they are. Period. Everyone that you attract around you is showing you what you are as a truth. Humanity and their puny little fucking ego mind only looks at that definition and says, well, they show me what I am. He's an asshole. I'm being an asshole then. No. It shows you how you interpret reality and the value you have in that interpretation. It's an education process, and it's happening every day, and it's wonderful. So understand this attraction is a change for you. You want to change, you're getting change. You're not playing with the human idea anymore. You don't need to look at the world and play in the world of polarity. It's not needed. Okay? Now play in the world of self-discovery, evolution, enlightenment, ascension for the self. Okay? Commit to this. So what we're going to look at is when we want to create the observer. So feeling the difference between the observer is a state of relationship that has the ability to take in a non-emotional stance, and then the ego stance. So we all have done that before. So we got in the workbook, number 1, define the observer in your own words. Number 2 is, how do you recognize the observer? How do you recognize your observing self, the observer itself? How do you recognize it? So in your mind, you can have points of view, can't you? You can see yourself doing this. You can see yourself doing that. You can see the observer looking at this situation, and you can also see your ego looking at the same situation. Think of a memory of something that got you upset. The observer can see that and say, yes, I can see how you can be upset, but I also can see how I can just observe this and not be tied into it as an emotional reaction. You can put yourself outside of that. That's creating the relevancy of the observer. Remember, we have this kind of idea, okay? We have this self of your God self. You come down to the planet, you divide yourself, and then you have this fractal self. This fractal self is a conglomeration of belief systems through religions, peers, whatever mom and dad taught you to be truth. You know, I was scared of the fucking telephone. I was scared of the fucking telephone because my mom always said, uh-oh, something bad's going to happen when the telephone rings. I was scared to hear the fucking telephone. I've heard that, it's told that before. It's ridiculous, the belief systems. I was afraid of always getting into trouble. I was afraid of police because they were taught me they were liars and cheats and they're going to hurt you. I was afraid of authority because, I got raped because I was afraid to say no because he was a grown-up. That's what my parents taught me. And of course, it wasn't their fault, and it wasn't my fault. And I, at the time, didn't understand because they didn't teach me anything about bad. They said, no, it's all bad, it'll go away. But when it comes into my world, I had to listen to bad. That was a time. Those are the things you have to find inside of your fucking head. Everything has to be dismantled, the whole fucking kit and caboodle. So what we've done in awakening, you create this person. This is the observer. Where's the black marker? God creates a not God perspective. You decide to wake up, something doesn't feel right, you get a what? You get another perspective. That's the observer. That's the enlightened. That's the awakening. That's the new you. That you have an ability to recognize yourself. Believe me, I get caught up in my anger. I'm like working, I'm doing all this ascension stuff and blah, blah, blah. And man, my mom said one thing and I went from 0 to fucking 60. While I'm observing myself, I'm going ape shit nuts because she's fucking knows how to push my buttons. because I was a girl growing up, but in here, but I'm supposed to be a guy, and I had that relationship with my mama being girly, and we fucking argued like mother and daughter did. So I built that relationship, and I was like, wait a minute, look at me look at me. I was learned to observe my reaction. I saw my reaction, and I learned through a lot of fucking pain not to choose it, because it felt good to fucking argue. It felt good to make my stance. I was validated when I yelled and argued and screamed. I needed to be right. I was never right. Bing. Right here. That's when I saw it. It's like, oh, if I keep doing this, I'm going to keep getting the same fucking reality. Ta-da! So I learned, absolutely, Nora, it's a fucking cycle. It's a crazy ass trap. Pardon me. So that observing self that you create. So define the observer in your own words. You can say whatever you want. A self that's cool. It's Joe Cool. You step into that persona, and all of a sudden, everything is okay. Because the observer is not afraid of tomorrow. It's not afraid of yesterday. It's not concerned. The observer is now. And the now is always perfect. Always. No matter what the situation, even if you're in high freaking danger, your now self, you got it. You see, where we get fucked up is when we go into the future and the past, we start memorying our reality with fears and regrets and logic and thinking and whatabouts and should and we should and that and then we spend 90% of our fucking life right here in time. And we don't live now. And that's where the pain lives. So the observer is this centered, I am, doesn't care, doesn't have anything it needs, this slick willy that just says, hey, relax, I got this. That's what I saw. However you want to say it. And I recognized it when I'm screaming and hollering. I recognize, oh, there's another choice I can make here. Let me step out of it. And I got better at it, because when I was starting to react, and sometimes I'm like halfway through fucking losing my mind or whatever it is, I would go, oh, wait a minute, I have an observing self. Let me step over there. And it would shut off. So the recognition of those relationships, the reaction belief system, the anger, that was wrong, was my judgment. And the reaction in me was anger. That anger, I'm the one who felt it. I'm the one who experienced it. I don't want to feel anger anymore. I don't want to do it. Don't need it. So I took the anger and I said, that's mine. That's my anger. That's my belief system. That's what creates my world. Recognition. So I need to do something about this. How can I change this? Well, how do you change worlds? It's going to kind of be kind of strange. This doesn't sound relevant. But your worlds are destroyed as soon as you stop looking at them. So you can literally get up, go out of your room, close the door, or wherever you're at, go into another room, and realize, without validation, just realize that entire room has been destroyed. It's gone. And as soon as you go back in it, it's back. Poof. That's how it literally works. We explode and destroy, explode and destroy. So what happens if you never focus on something again? It goes away. But it's deep and it's very valuable. I wish Transcendence would do it on the first time. It doesn't. But if you stay at it and dig and dig and dig by just being yourself in the now, we'll learn that, then what you will start to recognize is in that moment, you can see you have a choice, a different interaction with reality, which only brings by default change. Okay? So the observer is key. We taught you a little bit about it last time. Our observing friend. What you want to do is when you recognize, watch, when you recognize a reaction, like any of you react to something today, when you recognize, you want to feel that. You don't want to avoid it. You want to take it and say, oh man, look at me, I'm reacting. Because I want to learn, I want to feel. That's how I learned, by accepting it. Say, wow, feel that anger. I am really fucking pissed right now. Or I'm really excited right now. Or I'm really hopeful right now. Oh my God, I feel fucking guilty. Don't change it. Don't run away. For God's sakes, embrace it. Embrace it with every fiber of your being, because that experience is now evolving inside of you. And then you'll be able to feel, and you'll be able to discern. You'll be able to quickly recognize vibration in your day-to-day life on the possibilities of where you want to put your fucking energy. Someone walks up to you and you can feel their energy before their words even come out of their mouth. And you're like, I feel what you're going to say. I don't know your words, but I fucking know your vibration you're putting out. And then you interpret that. That's called co-creation, guys. Okay? That's what they are in your reality to you. Doesn't matter what they are in their world. That's not your business, nor can it ever be your business. Don't externalize the outside. Everything is coming to you as a reflection of experience and understanding your relationship with reality and how, if you've chosen, you can change it. So always look at the observer self as someone with an ability to feel this way, divine nonchalance, and this way. It can discern, feel the relationship with polarization, the relationship with love, the relationship with anger, the relationship with guilt, the relationship with deceit, or the relationship with you being deceitful, the relationship with you lying to other people. That lying isn't right or wrong. Deceit isn't right or wrong. Guilt isn't right or wrong. Everything is what? Masters, everything is and ever shall be one thing and one thing only. It's called fucking experience. So that's why we want to embrace our emotional recognitions, because it educates us. If you come down to a planet and you get angry, why do we push it away? Because people say, calm down, don't do that. Wrong. You want to change it because it hurts. It does. It really hurts. Embarrassing. And you feel embarrassed. You don't want to stay embarrassed. You want to run away. Stay in there. Stay in the fucking game. Envelop yourself. Envelop that emotion. Wrap it, hold it tight, let it pour into your fibrous being so you can grow from that vibration, that frequency, that relationship in your head that you're creating with interpretation. And then you feel it and you become alive and you grow in that mastery. And then one day you'll never ever be able to feel sorrow again, success again, failure again, fear again, because you know it and you'll never interpret reality as that. Because this point of view, this ascender has mastered those truths. Because they're gone now. That's transcendence. Recognize it, ownership of it. We'll talk about the ownership in that. Any questions so far? We got more people in the room. Who else came in? James, welcome, James. There you are. Okay. So transcendence is everything. If you do not change your behavior, remember guys, don't look at your behavior as the way you act with this particular person. It's never external. It's always how you feel. You must feel your reality. That's the building of your discernment between your authentic self and your non-authentic self. The fractal truths or the unknown truths that are literally unconditional. Okay? You get there through your observer. Okay, your observer is the one that's awakening and recognizes the division in its own self. Okay, so let's talk about the virtues. Number 3, write down and define the 4 virtues of transcendence. Of course, I'm going to read them to you. And number 4, if you look in the workbook, write down the opposition behaviors of these virtues. And I will tell you those as you're going along. So I'm going to go 3, talk about number 1, and then 4. Number 1 is going to be the opposing to 3, number 1. Okay. So number 1 is patience. How we have time like we think it's going out of style. Okay. As a reminder, and maybe some of you haven't heard this, let's understand. The memory creates the moment. The memory is created in the moment. So you can literally spend 10 years doing one thing, erase those 10 years, and go back to a moment like those 10 years never happened. It's your world, and there's no one else except vibrationing match co-creators that are going to validate that. Can erase 10 years like that. Okay, don't ever think you're going to run out of time. You can go get educated for 10 years about something, come back the moment you started that 10-year journey and have all the knowledge, and all of a sudden you know everything about that, and you just continue this timeline. Don't ever discount what the hell you can do. You can't do it with your ego mind, because this mind doesn't create. It's not God. This mind is reactive experience to the idea of reality, so it can experience as polarization. The awakener leaves the polarized perspective, creates a new observer that allows itself to choose its unknown on its remembering journey home. Okay? So always know that. You can recreate yourself anytime. You can recreate your history anytime. You're driving home, it's 30 minutes later, you don't remember a damn thing about the drive. It scares the shit out of you. Did I run red lights? I don't remember anything. But what you did is you got in your car, 1 second later you were at home, but you gave yourself the memory of 30 minutes passing. Don't ever discount what we are. You can't manage it. Don't envy it. Don't lack it. Just accept one thing. You will never run out of time, because we literally create time. So slow your mind down. Don't let your mind run you. Make it happen. You feel that, and all of a sudden you're saying patience, patience, but what do you feel? The opposing to patience is, of course, impatience. Observe and discuss the thoughts of the counter, this virtue. This virtue, the counter and the virtue. The virtue is patient. Slow down to speed up. Why? Because you start to see more, feel more, experience more when you're not streamlined like this. They think it's great. Oh, they have blinders on and they're going after their goal and they were succeeding. And then you're just envious of this person because they did this and you want to do it. Because you need to be something else than you are. Because you don't know what you are, except you know you're not you. And you're chasing these identities around humanity. We don't need to do that. So patience. Slow down. Okay? I was wanting to say, why can't I ascend yet? Because I'm still learning. I'm still understanding. I'm still growing. I'm in this frickin' classroom of life, this laboratory of separation. I'm going to learn everything I can. And as I learn these things and grow from them, I get new understandings, new enlightenments, and movement. It's spectacular. So slow down. Patience, masters, okay? So number 1 is patience. We all know what patience is. The opposite of patience is impatience. So we know what the impatience is. That's that weird, uncomfortable drive you have in yourself that you want to make it happen. You can't wait around anymore. You got to hurry up. You got to honk at the person in front of you because they're not going fast enough or they're texting. Hurry up. Where are you going? Sly said it best. Everyone here on the earth is running as fast as they can to get to their death. You can't change time. If you're caught up in the space-time continuum, time ain't going to go anywhere. It's going to keep you congruent. You can't escape it. But if you come into the now world, you can change everything. Patience will get you there. So we know what patience is. We know what impatience is. So observe yourself with these ideas. Okay? Number 2. Very, very big one. Allowance. Allow the now is a great little thing in your head. Okay? The opposite in 4-2 of allowance is interference. Okay? The reason why we observe is to have the ability to recognize and see and experience what's there that we've never seen because we are being reactive. So when you are now observing whatever is happening, you just allow it and cease your reaction. So you allow the now to play out. You want to see what's going to happen. We never get to see as humans what we truly have attracted. What worlds, what changes are there for us. Remember, it's never too late. No one's missed anything. You never shoulda, coulda, woulda. Ever relax. I swear to you, you're a God, and you'll create your own world. But first thing you need to do is get in touch with yourself. Transcendence will take you there. These virtues will help you, remind you. They'll allow you to see opportunity, change in the moment, to really understand from a new perspective of intelligence what's really happening in the now, that you just would have never had the idea that that's actually there. And then all of a sudden, bing, and you'll get epiphany after epiphany if you have patience and you learn to allow the now to play out. Let people talk. When you feel that, I got to interfere and argue with them. I got to get in the middle of this. I need to hurry up and prevent this. Watch yourself. Whatever's happening to where you need to think. Yeah, I'll tell them that, right? You need to think you need to run interference on a reality. Don't. When you think you do because you feel the emotions of impatience, don't. If you're in the now and you're observing and you're allowing it, you'll know when to speak. You'll know when to take action. And it comes in a completely different way. It's a divinity. It's a motion of absolute. There's no wrapping in it. There's no posture about it. Like interference is, oh, I got to stop this. Or I know what's better. Or this can't happen, so this. So you run interference without knowing the entire thing. So if you observe and allow the now, you can learn so much. And then you know when to speak. And you know when to take action. And you'll feel that surge. And that is part of your discernment. You'll feel and start to learn more of the unknown self, the nature, the notion of your own instinct. Birthing up because you're allowing it out. It never goes away. These aren't skills that need to be learned. They just need to be remembered. But first you got to see them and start to feel them and understand them and grow familiar with them again. Remember, everything is vibration. Everything is interpretation through vibration, feeling, frequencies, tones. We all know that. We think it's tangibles, knowledge, reading stuff that are validated by an emotional stance of separation. You know, it's right, it's fact, because, but that's it. And then you argue for it. You defend. What? This is different. Completely different way to feel life. Okay? So we know allowance is number 2, and 4-2 is interference. Okay, number 5. I'm sorry, number 5. Number 3. Number 3 is surrender / vulnerability. Okay? And the opposing is intentions. Okay? Intent. We always think on the planet. We are known for thinkers. I heard that statement by Bashar, and it was written in a small little thing about one of his writings that someone had translated or wrote down. And he had said, and this is way back when he was channeling on a couch in a living room with about 4 or 5 people around him. And he goes, you humans literally never, do not ever need to think on this planet, ever. And that just shocked me, because everything in my life was taught to manage life. Because if I didn't, the whole fucking kit and caboodle is going to crash, and I'm going to end up in a ditch, homeless, disappointing everyone around me, being a failure, feeling the guilt that my parents taught me because I was born a fucking sinner because some asshole fucking ate an apple. And then I got to live that way. Oh man, I'm so sorry. I'm a sinner. Jesus Christ. I'm so sorry. Oh, good. Smitty, you made it. I just saw you made it in. I remind myself of that quote every day, every time I feel stressed about anything. Bingo. Okay? So surrender in vulnerability is when you recognize it, give into it. You can feel the fight because your ego wants to live. Your ego's nature is life. I don't know what I am, but I know I'm what this says, and you put those around you, and you build this fortress, and it's this identity, and all of a sudden you're asking yourself not to be that person. That's what you have to do. Instead of enacting that, you have to surrender to it and say, oh, wow, look at me. That's me. I'm being reactive here. I'm the one that's angry. I'm the one that's disappointed. I'm the one that's obligated to make sure everything is perfect. But the other people don't need it to be perfect. That's in my head. Fuck. I can never be free if I'm always working for the outside. What possible parts of me can I discover if I release that? I'm so afraid that I'm going to get rejection from the mirror that I would never dare bring a part of me out that might get rejected. So I hide it. When I recognize that conditioning self through fear, I surrender to it and said, wait a minute. I'm unconditional. I'm change. Who gives a fuck what people say? I tell you who gave a fuck. My ego gave a fuck. I was scared to death. I was scared to death to be transgender. I was scared to death to tell my parents. I was scared to death to start my YouTube and start channeling in front of people, and the reactions I got and all the fucking judgments I got and all of that stuff. And it hurt. They fucking hurt. They hurt me. But then I realized I came here to hurt. I came here to see that. I can't get that out there when I don't have pain in my life through separation. I don't have vulnerability in my life as a potential through separation only. So I started seeing and learning these things and go, oh my God, what happens if I surrender to the self that I just recognized? That I embraced that and allowed it to penetrate me. Allow myself to be defenseless. That I don't have to rage against these people. I don't have to defend myself. The emotions were kicking in and they were just lighting me up and they hurt. But what I understood was the growth from them. Because the more I was allowing, surrender to the truth of me and allowing it to penetrate, the more I became understanding of that. My observer automatically was there and says, this is your experience, but it sure as hell is not you. This is your human journey. Embrace what you have learned. Embrace how you have grown. Embrace the mastery you're experiencing today. And I was like, I got it. I fucking got it. The whole game has been experienced. Maybe there was a lifetime where I had the most wonderful, loving parents and my life was just beautiful the whole life. And maybe I was ready for hate and anger and complete disappointment and an earth-shattering amount of failures. And this mind did it to this heart and beat the fuck out of it. And then I was like, I can't do that anymore. I can't do that. So I surrendered to them. I never justify. I was talking with the Christian guy on this, he's a very devout Christian on this podcast live thing. And we're sitting down and we're talking about stuff and he was just blah, 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 blah. And I'm just observing him and he got in an argument with this other person about something. And he was arguing so hard that this person, that they said, that's not my God. And he goes, it is your God. There's nothing you can do about it. And I was like, look at that. Look how much he needs to be validated. So that's an automatic recognition of a belief. Because if you know that it is his God, he would never have to defend it. So when I know I'm defending a reaction, and I want to intend it and change it and do, I know I'm sitting right there on a big old fat belief system. So I accepted the moment, gave up the fight, surrendered to it, allowed the now, didn't do shit. And I became extremely educated. I understood things now. Without books, without teachers, the education of vibration started to embrace and fulfill me. Okay? So that was surrender. Now, intentions, why we have intentions on earth, okay? I get up this morning, I can say I have an intention, I have a class at 7 o'clock. But I'm not intending to go to the class, I'm going to the class. Intention is a little bit different. It's like, okay, here's a reaction. Well, this is what we need to do. Because this is bad. So we need to fix it. So my intentions are to change this pain in whatever I can. And that's where you actually enable the pain. Because you're putting the lack back into it. You're validating it. If you don't allow the energy from you to be willing to intend to create that in its countenance, then it's going to fucking go away. So if a reality comes in and it scares you or it tells you this and you have to change it, your intention is to change it through this process. You think about it, you Google it, you ask some friends, you come up with a plan, and your intentions are to change this possible future. What you do is insure it. Not the details, but you've insured the relationship with the vibration because you're acknowledging it, you're willing it into place by giving it energy both through intention. But if you surrender to it and allow the moment to play out without your interference, then you're going to see the magic happen. Then you're going to see the magic start to happen. I swear to you, but it takes an extreme amount of trust. Not in them, in yourself. Yeah, but I'd rather say, I'm going to trust the unknown. I've been the unknown my whole life. My whole created, my eternal self, I've always been in the experience of the unknown. Only when I came here was I afraid of tomorrow. Fear taught me to be afraid of time. Wonderful. Can't get it anywhere else. So I'm experiencing the mastery of separation. But all of these are truths inside of us, guys. Make no mistake about it. The first thing we do is acknowledge it, that it's there. We recognize it. Now we can surrender to it, accept it as ours. And the number 4, the last one, is ownership. That takes the surrendering and vulnerable to not push against it and fight it. Like that guy fought against that other person. No, you're wrong, no matter what. I'm right. Allow, surrender. Recognition. He's never going to own that. Because he only knows that's truth for all. That's his world. That's in his head. That's how he creates his world. Not wrong, his journey. But if he ever wants to change it, he's going to have to see it. So when you recognize something with you, vulnerability allows you to embrace it. And then we get to number 4, we own it. Every relationship, every item in your world, in the now, has its own relationship of truth, right? Brutal honesty with the self and recognition of the beliefs. To know that all of this is your truths. When you recognize them, they don't belong to anyone else. This is why we fucking own ourselves. Because now that we've recognized it, we see it up here, right? We see it. We don't react to it. We allow it to play out. Okay, transcendence takes time. We say, okay, slow down, let me see what happens. Allow the now. You start to recognize the belief system in you. You recognize it in others, but you take what you have and you're vulnerable to the moment. You allow it to play out. You surrender to your own beliefs. You don't react. You don't push back. You don't have intention. You don't change reality. You don't fucking control it. And then you see it in its fullness and then you own it. And that locks it in. You take ownership of that. And the opposite of ownership is externalism. You'll push it back out and you'll assign it to the outside. Don't you fucking dare. It's never anybody else. And believe me, guys, I had a very difficult time with that. But I know what I know now, so I'm letting you know it's no one else's. It's going to be hard for you to see that. But as you journey, if you have the discipline within you to do these virtues, to stay now and understand through the observer, you'll understand that it is literally all you all the time. No other time has never been anyone else but you. And these are the truths that you now can recognize, now have the ability to choose different. Take energy away from this and put it into this. You don't know what you're going to put it into. It doesn't matter. Something will show up. Law of attraction never fails. Ever, ever, ever fails. Okay? So I recognize in myself the ownership of these things. Let me see what I wrote this right here. Discussion on. Yeah. Always remember you're enough. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we'll go over that. So far, any questions? We have 10 minutes left. Let me see what I want to get into. Write down the examples and recognize your ego and choose the egoic behavior over the observer self. Yeah. See, no questions from anybody? Everyone good? Okay. So the virtues, patience, allowance, surrender, ownership. The counterants, impatience, interference, intentions, and externalisms. I wanted to blame everyone else for my pain. Okay? Gas prices are up. It's not because of the government. This is because of that. We can assign it all day long. You can't look at the world as problems or these or those. That's externalism. What you accept is you have a relationship of an emotional. They might be doing that. They might be that deception and that cheat, and that's how the way the world is. Big corporate might be doing this, pharmaceuticals, all this shit. They might be doing it, absolutely. But if you make it your business, you make it your pain, it's not your business anymore. Don't assign it. Don't look outside. Stay in your 360 bubble here and now and start to observe reality from a neutral standpoint. And as you learn your observer created self, you'll get better and better. You will still feel your reaction self. You will still embrace and get in the middle of it and says, okay, I can't stop this reaction. I'm going to fucking say what I'm going to say. Then say it. Say it. It's not wrong. Don't let your mind judge you. But when you're saying it, you're going to say, wow, look at myself. I can see myself reacting. I can see me, and I can see me because I am awake. I have the observer. What do I want to do with this? Do I want to own that truth? Or do I want to keep putting it outside as it signs to them? They did it to me. Their fault. Okay. That's your world. You create that, not wrong. And no one's going to judge you for it. You got to understand, you are your whole self. Your whole self can never be disappointed with you. It can never judge you. It can never tell you, oh, you could have done better. Because you are that. So when you go wake up in the morning, you're the same God that was just up here, the whole self that knew everything about itself. You just chose to go pop in and go, okay, here I am as a human again. Everything's gone. It's still me, though. It's only this that's in the way. This fucking personality that we built. But we deconstruct it through recognition, through perseverance, through acceptance. Be the discipline of the now. Trust it's going to work out. This is not something you can buy or study and graduate from. You can't do a process to achieve this. You have to do the work in the now yourself. Only you can change this. It's no outside destination. It's an internal journey. It's called enlightenment. To recognize the self of separation, to deconstruct it through that recognition, to discern both parts of you, to own and embrace your own recognition, to transcend those beliefs and die to that self, stand on its dead corpse and birth a new self and go into the unknown with no fear, no hesitation, no approaching the moment from, oh, maybe I can soften this. Maybe I should say something that won't be so this or that. Then you're only darkening the unknown self. Don't ever do yourself the injustice of conditioning. Embrace what the fuck you are, an eternal God. Unknown still, not validated. But that's the mastery of the unknown self, birthing its own trust in its own existence, saying, I am enough and I am unjudged. That's what you can do. I think we'll stop there. Let me see how many we got. Yeah. We got 5 weeks in this month. I don't think we're going to take all 5 weeks. I was talking to Smitty earlier, and you guys are a very exciting class. You're a very exciting class. You're vibrationally very good. You're very intelligent. She's sat in some classes from, I don't know, not 3 or 4 cycles ago. It's like, they were not on board. But you guys are on board. You want this. You can feel the validity of it. Don't chase it. Be it. Attraction takes care of it. You never need to intend to get it. All comes in. It's all attraction. Patience, allowance of the now will let you see those things. And as you recognize yourself, choose that unknown. Surrender to it, own it. And then when you see the opportunity and your mind says, don't, because it might, say, fuck you, fear. Let's find out what's on the other side of the unknown and choose the self. Choose what your heart says. Feel this fifth element right here. Your heart that creates, the will that knows. Okay? Any questions, guys?
So it feels like just bringing this to next week, but I feel like I get caught around this in doership and non-doership. Like in
You,
that,
you
like I just sit and let it happen, but you got to do also.
Well, but
And
see, that's the
that,
great thing. But see, you're doing, but don't do with intent. Do when you know you need to go. Like, I need to go to the bathroom. You're like, shit, I have to go to the bathroom. Let me write it down. I intend to get, you just get up and go, right? So when you're at work and you're doing something and you know it's time to do it, just do it. But the idea is you don't have to do. I thought I had to do because I was never enough. My society, my parents, my teachers say you got to earn, you got to make yourself something. Otherwise, you'll be this, this, and this. I don't want to be that. So my intentions were insatiable. I had to be doing something. I dare you, if you're one of those doers who always has to be busy, sit still for a moment and watch yourself go apeshit. Does that make sense, Bree? Unmute yourself. I want to talk to you.
yeah. And what comes up for me is not doing and not enough, and not doing and trying to get somewhere, which is still and not enough. Because I'll wax and wane, and I don't know, I'm a Pisces, but I'll like do, and then I'll do nothing.
Okay, is that wrong? So when you judge
No,
yourself,
yeah,
when you
no.
see yourself, that's a belief, isn't it?
Mhm.
Okay, so own that belief. Pisces is Pisces only if you say it's Pisces.
Yeah,
Okay, and whatever you're supposed to be doing and doing, and then you recognize, okay, I'm doing this, that's you labeling you as that, isn't it?
yeah,
And that's your ego.
yeah,
I embrace that I'm a Sagittarian. I'm the first one to jump. I don't give a fuck. But I never label myself as that. I don't have pride. I don't use it as an identity. It's just a
yeah,
part of my nature.
yeah,
Are you seeing the difference?
yeah. It's more acceptance in my nature.
Yes, but
Hmm.
you don't need to puff around about it and be that. Why judge what you do?
Yeah.
Who's judging? Your fucking ego. Because what you do is unconditional. That's recognition. So when you feel that doing self to go and do because you're this, and you go, you're right, fuck, I need to do. And now, wow, I've done enough. I need to wane. Look at me waning, everyone. Or you're just creating a fucking identity to fulfill that ego.
Yeah, no. You're
Recognize
right.
the emotion.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah,
with
it's
me?
not the doing or the not doing, it's the how I'm thinking about
Yes, it's
and the
always
not
the
doing.
relationship. It's irrelevant if you're doing or not doing. There
Yeah.
is no lazy until the ego claims lazy. Okay?
Hmm.
Picking up what I'm laying down, guys? Those are the egos. That's the belief systems that you are interacting with and validating because you're something. You're something that it needs to fulfill. Remember, you never need to think you're on this planet. That's right, Smitty. All right, everyone good? Okay, everyone. We will see everyone next week. If you need me between now and then, you give me a email, call me on the phone if you know my number. If you don't know my number, email me and I'll send it to you. And if you need one-on-one help, it's part of the class. You know, you're not an inconvenience. All right? So study the virtues, know them in yourself. This entire week, slow down, make it an idea and the analysis. Oh, here it is. Here's the moment. I can make this moment an observing moment. Here it is. Wait a minute. Let me slow down and see what else is there. Start working these ideas. Okay, review them over the week and employ them in your day-to-day life. Okay, everyone?